Shanti, and good evening. So today we've got a wonderful topic and a wonderful evening. And thank you for choosing to come here on a rainy evening. So that's a sign of facing a challenge and still being here and having a smile on your face. And that's what the whole topic is all about today. Staying joyful, happy through challenges, through trials. So before we start this session today, I think it would be nice to have few moments of silence. And in this few moments of silence, is it possible for me to just go within and just in the mirror of my mind, see myself with a smiling face? Let's have that minute of silence. And I go within to see the happy me, which is there. And when I see myself, how does that make me feel? No matter what's happening in my life right now, just to see the happy me inside, seeing my own reflection with that smile, how does that make me feel? How does that make you feel? Makes you feel happy? What else? Makes you feel content. Okay. Joyful. Yeah. Yeah. Those who saw themselves in the mirror of their own minds with that smile, you did not need anybody or anything to make you feel happy. You did not need anyone to do something to make you feel happy. Because when I see that I am happy internally, all your faces changed. I could see the change in your facial expression. So happiness and situation. If you see, we start depending our happiness on the situation, and instead of happiness, we get sorrow. Wherever there is any kind of dependency, definitely there is sorrow in it. Because every dependency comes with an expectation. And every expectation does not come with a guarantee to be fulfilled. And majority times I am expecting something. You might not be even aware of my expectations. And that's why the probability to fulfill my expectations becomes very, very low. And when it's not met, I experience disappointments, I experience sorrow. What I've learned in this university is that happiness or cheerfulness is the result of me being filled with virtues. If I am filled with virtues, I'm content inside, I'm full inside, then my face will be happy and joyful, and I'll experience lightness in everything. But if I'm not content, if there's some kind of disappointments inside, maybe with even myself, I'm not happy the way I am being, I could be much better. You see, even I'm having expectations from my own self, and that is also not allowing me to be. So when I first read this title, I went back to my childhood because challenges and cheerfulness was trying to see the best correlation that I could figure out. And growing up in a country like India, we were surrounded with a lot of stories, a lot of mythological stories. And the famous personality in India is of Sri Krishna. I think all of you know, right? Have you ever seen any of that image anywhere in the world of the deity Sri Krishna sad or with a long face or tired? No. But if you go back and see his life, was his life, whatever they share about his life, the story, is it very smooth? Right? People give him fantastic names, but if you have a different perspective, you'll see him as Mr. Problematic. Wherever he goes, there's a problem, there's a challenge. His birth was a problem, right? His uncle was ready to kill him before even he's born. So he had enemies even before birth. Do we have that kind of challenge here? And everyone was behind him to kill him as soon as he was born. They take him out of the jail. There is a lot of chaos out there. There is rain and there is storm, and he's again smiling and laughing and enjoying the lightning and everything as if there's a light show going up in the sky, right? But somehow, everywhere he goes, there's trouble, right? Right from the childhood till his adolescence, till he became an adult. And finally, as a friend, he had to go for a war where he was not supposed to be. And he says, I won't fight the famous Mahabharat war. And he became the charioteer of Arjun. But every arrow that came towards Arjun had to say hello to Krishna first, right? So every situation, if you see, there is a problem. But every problem, every arrow that came to him, or every situation that came to him, his first response was, if you see the stories, if you read the stories, if you hear the stories, the first response on his face is a very naughty, cheeky smile. There you come. Okay, I'm ready, right? So every challenge, actually, we think we are facing challenge, but he changed the dynamics, thinking challenge is facing me now. So if I am thinking that I am facing a challenge, that means challenge is powerful and I'm trying to navigate through it. But if I change the mindset, I change the dynamics and I said, okay, hello, challenge, you are now going to face me. How does that sound? That sounds more powerful. It puts me in a position of my own, where I have control of my own self. So now I am not navigating through challenges, but challenge is trying to face me because I am confident enough in who I am. So it's a very nice point of reflection for me to see where I am and what positioning I am doing for myself in my life, in the journey. It's very easy to think that why me? Why this is happening to me? When this will finish? How this will get over? Why I have to see these things, So that's one kind of situation. But if I change my mindset to what am I learning from this? What can I contribute in this situation? Then what will happen? The whole theory changes. The power dynamics changes. So rather than me being subservient to challenges and feeling victim, now I'm feeling a contributor or someone who's learning from some situation. And now I'm not feeling sad. I'm feeling curious. You see the difference? And when I'm curious, I have the excitement, I have the joy of learning something new, making something better out of whatever is coming in front of me. But if I am the first person feeling victimized, like why me, then I'm not seeing any newness. I'm not seeing any growth in myself. I'm not seeing any excitement. Rather, I'm seeing disappointments and disappointments. And maybe I've started judging myself. Maybe I have started thinking that I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy enough because I'm seeing myself with the vision of the situation or of people around me. And I'm not going within to see who I truly am. So if I really want to be cheerful when there are challenges, the first thing I need to do is to see who I am. What's my truth? And am I able to have a mindset that helps me navigate through all the stress that's coming in front of me with different situations, different scenarios? Does that make sense? Right? So the first thing is, what's my take on life? How do I see life? Or maybe, do I have a take on life? Let's start from that. Or it's like another day, you have to go to work, you have to earn money, you have to pay your bills, you have to just do something for your living, and life goes on, and I'm going on. Things come, there are ups and downs, highs and lows, and all those kinds of things. And people have told me so much. I've got some conditional thinking and beliefs, and I'm just staying with those beliefs, thinking this is the way. Or do I take a pause and check, is this the way? Because I have a friend in US, and one day we were unpacking something, and somehow we were making it very complicated to just unpack that thing and fix it and use it. And she remembered, and she said that her friend told her that if it is complicated, you're not doing it the right way, because the manufacturer would make it easy for the user, and if it is complicated, that means you don't know the right way. So then we said, okay, let us find out which is the right way. And it was very easy. It was very simple. It was just that we didn't know what to do with it. So we were trying all our intelligence to make things complicated, right? In the same way, if my life is feeling complicated, that means there's something that I'm not doing it the right way. Because it's meant to be simple. It's meant to be easy. It's meant to be joyful, despite of all the situations and things that comes to me. But if I'm not feeling that inner joy, then what's that I'm missing? And that's where spirituality comes in. That if I'm experiencing sorrow, if I'm experiencing some kind of negativity, if I'm experiencing some kind of imbalance or stress, then there's something that I've not figured it out. So can I take a pause? And in that pause, can I ask myself, what is that I am missing? Is there any dependency? Because as a spiritual being in a human journey, I think that would be the fundamental that I've got it wrong. Maybe I'm thinking that I'm a human being on a spiritual journey, but perhaps it's the other way around. I am a spiritual being on a human journey. And when I start seeing myself as a spiritual being, as a soul or as an energy, things will shift. And I think that's the first lesson that we learn here in this spiritual university. That I'm not on a spiritual journey, but I am a spiritual being on a human journey. Now, when I see myself as that spiritual being, what's going to happen? My perception changes. I now see myself not as this body, not as the gender, not as my age, not as my religion, not as my nationality, but I'll start seeing myself as an energy, as a power. And when I start experiencing and believing and living my truth, that I am that energy, I am that spiritual being, then things shift inside. And this inner shift of consciousness helps me to face that challenges with a cheerful face, with a smile. Then in any kind of situation which is very dull, it's easy for us to bring that joy. Because my inner happiness, actually, we think that happiness is something that we run behind or we chase. The more you chase happiness, happiness will go even far. That's a law. That's a law. Why? Because I am chasing something which is illusionary. Where there is a lot of heat, even on roads or in sand dunes or something like that, you see there's a mirage, like water is there. And the more you go closer, the further away it goes, right? Happiness is something like that. If I start seeing that my happiness depends on how my husband talks to me, or how my boyfriend is responding to my messages, or is he not responding to my messages, or is my work life very good? Are my colleagues okay? Is my manager very understanding or accommodative? Or is things going okay? Do you think I'll be happy? Do you think they will be doing exactly the way I think they should be behaving or they should be doing? Absolutely not, because they have an individual personality. So more I start associating my happiness with situation, with people, with personalities, with behavior, with outcomes, with achievements, the more disappointment I get. Do you agree with that? Everyone is nodding, right? But the more I become happy, irrespective of anything, with the awareness that I am a spiritual being whose nature is of happiness, is of cheerfulness. I don't have to be happy. It's not a cultivated emotion. It's my state of being. It's like a flower. A flower does not need to blossom or does not need to fetch fragrance. The moment it's there, the fragrance is spreading automatically because it is filled with, we have got lilies here, and you know how beautiful the lilies smell, right? Where did they get that fragrance from? It's there. In the same way, happiness is there, peace is there, love is there. I don't have to chase for anything. But if I'm chasing, I'm complicating life. And the more complex I make it, the more harder it becomes for me. But no matter what happens outside, can I still feel great? There's a wonderful book in the shop. Maybe while you go out, you could see that. It's called Feeling Great No Matter What. Right? Whatever is happening outside, I'm still feeling great because feeling great is my responsibility. Can I take the ownership of how I feel? Because how does feeling get created? How does feelings get created? By my thoughts. And why do I think in a certain way? Because I choose. I have so many thoughts. I can choose to see the same situation in different ways. Sometimes I overthink and I complicate. Sometimes I'm ignorant and I complicate. Sometimes I'm naive and I make it difficult. Right? So can I get that awareness? It's a very wonderful story. I just happened to know about it a few hours ago. And it was about a wonderful man, very wealthy man in South Africa. And he bought this diamond, a big diamond. I think it was the size of an egg yolk. So it must be like this big diamond. Very expensive. But after buying it, instead of feeling happy, he felt sad, disappointed. And why did he feel disappointed? Because when he observed the diamond, he saw a minor crack in it. He spent the whole fortune to get that diamond. Imagine this size diamond, right? And then when you buy it, and then when you bring it home, and when you see it, there's a crack, slight crack. Now he went to his jeweler to ask what can be done. And the jeweler said, it's very simple. One stroke, one right stroke, and it will become two beautiful diamonds. Right? Because it's such positioned that if you cut it accurately in that same crack, it will become into beautiful shaped diamonds, two diamonds. And each one would worth more, right? But it's very risky. Because if the stroke is not right, then this whole big diamond will shatter into pieces. So he said, I am not confident enough to do this. So he goes to another city, he goes to many people, and everywhere he goes, they tell him the same thing. That you cut it, it's going to give you two beautiful diamonds, nicely shaped, but if the stroke is wrong, the risk is high. So he goes many places, and finally one person tells him, go to Amsterdam. There is a very skillful jeweler, and I'm sure he knows how to put the right stroke. Right? So the same day he travels to Amsterdam, and he shows the diamond. He knows the value, it's very expensive. He tells him the same thing and makes him aware about the risk. The man says, I know the risk. I've heard this story 100 times. Just do it. I'm ready for the risk. Right? And what he does, the jeweler, he calls his apprentice and he says, take this stone, because it's a stone, there's a crack, but a perfect stroke, and make it into two. And in front of the man, he puts the stroke, perfect stroke, makes it into two nicely shaped diamonds without any mistake, gives it to him. So the probability of high risk becomes 0, and he's so happy. And then he asked the owner of the shop, this man seems very experienced. He did it right the first time, the first shot. How many years of experience does he have in this business? And the jeweler said, he is my apprentice. This is his 3rd day. Yeah. Now, what was the moral? And why did... because the man was shocked and he said, didn't you think it was risky for him to do if he has no experience? And the jeweler said, because he does not know the value of the stone, his hand didn't tremble. I know this is so expensive. Any mistake I make, the fear of losing something did not allow my hand to be steady. This new person does not know the value. He had no fear of losing things. And because he had no fear of losing things, he could do the thing right way without any pressure. Tell me, how much fear do we have of losing things? And because of that fear of not wanting to lose, do we do it the right way, or we start trembling and do things wrong and make our life complicated? Yeah. We don't dare to live because we have fear of losing life, losing our comfort, challenging our own beliefs. And really, where there is fear, there is no joy. So A, my expectations, my attitude. B, the fear. So if I have the attitude like, okay, I am here and hey, challenge, come, let's see what we can do with you. Come and face me. Things shift. But the attitude is of, why me? Or if the attitude is, I am going through this situation right now, things are going to be more tough. But if the attitude is, I'm growing through this, I'm learning, I'm knowing, then things are going to be different. And every time there is a dark phase, I think all of you here must have some moments which are very low in your life, which you feel it's very dark, and many, many times nobody's there around to help us out. I think almost every time you don't have people to help you. You don't have, but you have one thing who can help you. And who helps you in that difficult time? It's myself. And if I don't have a relationship with myself that strong, then I'm definitely going to be dependent on somebody and some things. And there'll be a constant fear of losing that person or that comfort. And because I don't want to lose, I start trembling and making wrong decisions. So cheerfulness comes with confidence. Confidence comes with trust. Trust in myself. Trust in the divine. Trust in things that are happening around me. And that deep faith comes with clarity and knowing the truth, knowing who I am, and my relationship with the source. Because I am a spiritual being, a happy being, but that divine is the ocean of happiness. So if I see my energy dimming, let me just go and recharge. Let me just plug into the powerhouse of happiness, powerhouse of joy that cheerfulness, and let me absorb that energy. Because, there's a famous saying, your life is dependent on the company you have. So if the company is stressful, if the company is negative, then my mood is also going to be stressed and negative. But if the company is of the divine, of the ocean, of the source, then definitely the situation is going to change. So, any questions? Do you have any questions? Yeah, okay. Just wait for the microphone to come to you.
Thank you, Nidhi.
It's on.
Thank you very much. From the story of this rich man with a diamond and the apprentice who did the job, would you say sometimes ignorance
Is bliss.
is bliss? Yes, that's the question.
Yeah. Ignorance is bliss many a times, but it's also been said that half knowledge is dangerous, right? So if I know the value of the stone, but I don't know the value of myself, that was more dangerous, right? I knew the value of the stone, but I did not trust myself enough. Then I could not possibly do it in the right way. So half knowledge I have about the situation. Wow, this is very tough situation, right? This is very critical situation. This is very risky situation. This is very sensitive situation. This is very complex situation. I have the complete knowledge about the situation. But do I have the knowledge about myself who's going to deal with the situation? Right? The apprentice did not have the knowledge of the stone, but he knew what he's supposed to do. He had the knowledge of how to strike it. In the same way, the person is always successful who knows his own strengths, his own capacities, and does not feel low or worthless and gives the power to the situation without having that relationship with yourself. Does that make sense? I know the situation is powerful, but I know I am powerful too. Maybe the situation is not as powerful. I remember, you know who was the first person who climbed the Mount Everest? Yeah. Right. You remember? Anybody remembers the name? But you know he was a New Zealand guy. Okay. I also don't remember the name, but I know his story. I remember his story. And he started his journey, I think it was in the 50s, perhaps. He started his journey, and every time he was going higher and higher and higher and higher, the storm was getting more complex and complex, and he still didn't give up, and he went. And then at one point he had to come down because the situation up there was very rough and the storm was very strong and it wasn't advised, right? And he came down. But when he came down at the base, a university next to it, in Mountaineering University, they really applauded his courage, at least to reach 3/4 and not giving up. And he was invited on the stage, and the stage was set up, and there was a beautiful backdrop of Mount Everest. And he saw the Everest, he smiled, whatever they had to do, he did. And then next year again, he started climbing. This time, he touched the top of the mountain, became victorious. He came back again, same stage again, same mountain again in the backdrop. He again looked at the mountain, he smiled. And the person who was organizing had witnessed this twice. And he asked him this question: what happened the first time when you came on the stage and you looked at the mountain? You had a smile at that time too. What was the thinking? And that smile was different than this smile today that you had. And he said that last year when I came and when I looked at the image of the Everest, I had a smile on my face because I was having a conversation with the mountain. And the conversation was, listen, when I see you, I know your heights. You can't grow more. That is what it is. But you don't know my heights, which can keep growing till infinity. So I will grow higher than you, and next year we'll meet again. That was the conversation that was going. And next year and next time, and it was history, right? And he went and he came back. And when he saw the mountain again, the feeling was, I now know my heights, right? Which are still growing. So I know the situation. It can be very high as mountain, very tough. But that's it. That's the altitude and longitude and intensity of that situation. That's fixed. But I am not fixed. My strengths are not fixed. My energy is not fixed. It all depends on my attitude. It all depends on my awareness. It all depends on how I see life and what's my take on life. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any other question? Yeah. We've got 2 questions here.
What daily practice would you do to have more faith or more confidence or more trust in yourself?
That's a very good question, right? What daily practice you can do? Recently, we had gone to Doha, where there was a World Summit that was happening after 30 odd years. It was the second World Summit. And we met many people there. And the message that we were trying to deliver to the world was that a shift in consciousness every day would be the answer to what you asked me right now. But how do I do that? It was a very simple practice for 30 days that we had offered. And it's called Just Sit, which means S-I-T, where I know that I am a soul, the spiritual energy, the being. I know that I'm an instrument, an agent for positive change, and I know I'm a trustee. And a lot of gifts that have been entrusted, qualities that have been entrusted onto me to make this world a beautiful place. But how much am I aware of my own strengths? I don't know. So what we had advised or we proposed was every day in the morning when I wake up, can I wake up with a positive awareness? Every day. It could be an awareness, a spiritual message, something that motivates me, something that uplifts me, right? As soon as I open my eyes. So when I do that, I create a foundation for the whole day. So if you go on the intervention, if you go on the website, for 30 days, every day there's a different awareness. And there's a flyer up there, you can take it and you can enroll yourself for that. And every day for 30 days, it's a different exciting awarenesses. And then during the day, it's like you've sown the seed, right? But during the day, can I practice that awareness through meditation? And 3 minutes meditation, not longer. Maybe 3 minutes midday, during the afternoon, before I'm going to bed, anytime. And we have a specific meditation for that too, for every day, different meditations. So if I'm practicing that meditation for 3 minutes, 3 times a day, and then before going to bed, if I reflect, and the app does have a reflective prompt question for you to journal your thoughts. And when you start doing that, you cultivate a habit of positive change. You cultivate a habit of having a relationship with yourself. You cultivate a habit of having a pause. And every pause is very powerful. Because I am running, sometimes people are chasing and running and there's job and this, that. It feels like life is like a headless chicken. I'm going here, there and everywhere. But the moment I pause, I have a shift. Now this shift helps me to be more confident and trust myself. Because in that pause, I meet myself. I don't meet myself in the hustle and bustle of life. I meet myself in the silence of my own solitude. And this pauses gives me that space where I can connect with my own self, where I can meet myself, not just meet, but even know myself better. And when I start doing that, things would shift. We actually had a research done on this intervention from University of New Zealand, University of Waikato in New Zealand, and one of the researcher, Dr. Anna Sutton, actually did research on people who practiced this for 30 days. And the results were that she saw a significant enhancement in self-awareness, in resilience, and the well-being of those individuals. So this is the power of my own thoughts. If I don't have the time to do I would strongly recommend you try this intervention and you fill in the question before and after, and you'll see the change yourself that comes in you. But before even that, if you think that's also too much work, can I start with a positive attitude towards myself? What's the tone of my inner talk with myself? How do I talk to myself? What's the tone that I use? What's the language that I use? Am I self-critical? Am I too hard on myself? Is my self-talk quite negative? Or do I feel sad talking to myself? Because whatever I'm telling myself is not giving me happiness about myself. Maybe I'm just saying, oh, I'm not worthy enough. This life is too hard for me. I don't have anything. I'm weak. I'm this. The energy in the room also changes. But if I say, yes, life is tough, things are challenging, maybe I'm not fully ready for it, but that does not mean this is who I am. It's just a mirror, an indication telling me I have to invest in myself. Now look at the talk. I'm weak. I can't do it. And it's a time for me to invest. Do you see the attitude? When I have that attitude, I'm able to love myself despite of things that are happening outside. And I'm able to be my own best friend who's helping me to be strong enough in that situation. Or else I'll be dependent on people, or even if not people, I'll be dependent on the universe to make things miraculously change for me. And I'll start manifesting, I'll start doing different things. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. But one thing I know, if my attitude is right, my awareness is right, my attitude will become right. If my attitude is right, my behavior, my actions will become right. If my actions are right, the result, the outcome will become right. So if I'm not having a right outcome that I am desiring, then let me check on the action that I'm doing. If I'm checking the action, let me check the attitude behind it. The attitude has an awareness. The awareness comes from the consciousness. Now, what is that? Do I see myself as a being of energy, being of light, the child of the divine? Am I seeing myself as an instrument? Then things will change, things will shift. So, what is the awareness? What is the consciousness? And in this university, we have two very interesting words. One is soul conscious, one is body conscious. So, body conscious will give me all the biases of this world, all the labels of this world, all the ego that's around it. But the moment I become soul conscious, I drop all those biases. I drop all the baggages of those labels. And once I've dropped it, I become lighter. Now, this lightness gives me joy. This lightness makes me cheerful, gives me confidence. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? We have one more question here.
Thank you. So my question is, until what point a person meet themselves, or is it in simple term, what is it? Because let's say if me, let's say I know myself that maybe I'm not going to a first and climb until the top because I'm quite weak, probably, but perhaps I'm stronger in another path.
Mm-hmm.
Or what is it like to wants to meet oneself? Is it? Can you describe in a simple term?
So it's good that you're asking this question. So there are two things. There is a role that I'm playing. Like, say, for example, I am a spiritual being and I'm limitless. I'm genderless. Energy, does energy have a gender? No. So if I see myself as an energy, I am genderless. I am ageless. I am bodiless. I'm using this body as a costume, right? So when I see myself with that awareness of the soul, I have unlimited powers. I can grow more and more. But when I start seeing myself as a role that I'm playing, like, say, for example, I'm seeing myself in a female costume, then I know the limitation of a female body. Do you see the difference? Right? Now, if I start believing that I'm just a woman, or I'm just a girl, or I come from so and so social background, so these are my boundaries, this is all the conditional belief I'm giving myself. These are the labels that I'm giving myself. Oh, I can't do this, or I don't think so. I'm allowed to do this by the norm of the society. Maybe there are inequalities that comes in my head. Now, this creates fear in me. Now, this fear, what is fear? Fear is a false illusion appearing real, right? So, if that fear is an illusion and that's what is reality for me, then I'm not even meeting myself. Right? So if I really want to meet myself, I have to first go beyond the labels, beyond the roles, beyond the biases. And when I meet myself, then my relationship with myself starts. Because up until now, I would have a relationship, but that would be with the role. And maybe I'm playing a role of a very irritated person, but that's not who I am. That's just a role that I'm playing. So I cannot be defined by the thoughts I am creating. Let's say I am creating negative thoughts right now. That does not make me a negative person. Because I am creating negative thoughts, I have a complete power to stop and recreate and change and transform them into positive with the power of choice. And when I use that power, things shift. But I can only use that power when I disidentify myself from my own thoughts. I am the creator of the thoughts. I am not my thoughts. Right? So, yes, that's it. And when I start living with that principle, things change. Then I start discovering myself. Or else I am just responding to situation. Someday I have a good day and the situation is there. I am behaving, performing better. I think this is my way. And I think this is what I'm good at. But when I go forward, I might break because that day was not a nice day. And I think, let me do something else. So my energy and the energy of the situation, it's always going to be different at different point of time. So I cannot really judge myself based on the situation and the energy which has been created with the biases, with the wrong awareness. If I truly have to know who I am, I need to know the right awareness. So if I become who I truly am, if I know the truth, and if I start spending that time with myself, in observing myself, I'll ask you a very simple question. Very simple question. Think of somebody who's very close to you. Instantly, that person came in your mind, right? And if I tell you to tell me something about that person, will you be able to tell me? All the nice things, all the things that annoy you, or the qualities and strengths, everything you'll tell me? You'll give me a good picture of that person, right? Now, if I tell you, tell me something about you, you have to think. Yeah? You do not need to think for that person. Why? Because you have spent time observing that person, knowingly or unknowingly. You've invested your time, you've invested your energy, you've invested emotions there with that person. It could be your mom, it could be your friend, it could be your partner, anyone, your daughter, your children, anyone. But because I've given, it's easy for me to describe them. But do I give myself that much time? Do I invest that much time with myself? Simple. Let me simplify it even more. How much time do you spend with yourself? If I tell you you've got half an hour, do whatever you want, what will you do? Maybe call a friend you have not called for a long time. Right? What would you do? Absolutely. Either I'm calling somebody I have not spoken for a long time, I'm listening to music, I'm reading something, I'm watching something, I'm just boom scrolling because I've got some time. Let me see what's happening out there in the world. So even when I'm listening, am I with myself or am I with someone else's energy who has created that music? So I'm actually spending my time with that person, whoever has created that music, in that energy. When I'm reading something, I am spending time with thoughts of somebody else or experiences of somebody else, which is good. You get exposure, you learn more things, right? Or I said, okay, I have half an hour, let me go for a walk. I'm again spending time with nature, experiencing things. But do I connect with myself, independent of my phone, independent of a book, independent of music, independent of everything? It's just purely me. How much time do I spend that throughout the day? Maybe nothing, right? Hardly. Once a year, do I spend that time? Once a month, do I spend that quality time with myself? Perhaps no. And if I'm not spending that time, how am I going to know myself? I'll know the role that I'm playing. That role might be weak. That role, because, like, say, for example, I'm driving a car. I know the car is punctured, the car is dirty, because the driver is not bothered about anything. Then, of course, the output is not going to be nice. So I have to start spending time. Yes. Yeah, there is no need to do that. There is no need to label ourselves, because labels are putting yourself in a box. And just tell me, how many people do we meet who says, I feel suffocated in what I'm doing? And they're actually doing what they wanted to do at one point of time. Right? So why to have labels? Why to have judgments? Can I live beyond that? Can I see myself beyond that? Let's do it now. Do you have any other questions? Or we can just go and have those moments with ourselves. Yeah? Questions? Okay. So let's sit very comfortably. And I take a few deep breaths, just allowing myself to be comfortable and relaxing my body. I breathe in and breathe out. I relax myself, calm my body. And now, in the mirror of your mind, just imagine yourself go back to the day that you were just born. There's no name, no roles, no responsibilities, no stresses, no baggages, no burdens. Just pure, raw peace. Pure joy, innocent smile that brought joy to whoever saw it. That purity and peace enabled everyone around to become peaceful. This is who I am. I go beyond the body, and right behind my eyes, in the middle of the forehead, I see myself It's a beautiful point of light, radiating vibrations of peace. I, the point of light, when I observe myself, I'm not just peaceful, but I'm happy, joyful. I can feel the lightness of who I am. And now I visualize another point of light. It's the ocean of peace, ocean of joy, ocean of happiness. I see that vibrations, that light of joy approaching me, penetrating deep inside me and healing me, healing those wounds, those scars, and strengthening me from within, empowering me, brightening me, allowing me to be who I am by giving me the strength to let go of all the labels, all the burdens that I have acquired on the journey. See myself as a powerful being, yet very peaceful. This happiness is my nature, which is not dependent on anything, irrespective of what's happening outside. I am feeling great inside. This is my truth. I take a deep breath in. I hold this awareness of my existence, that joy and that peace. I gently open my eyes, and this awareness, I use it in everything that I do, everything that I see, everything that I feel, everything that I do. Thank you. Shanti. Does that make you feel? So see you next week, same time. We have a wonderful speaker coming next week. And the topic next week is climbing with grace, right? And then on the 16th of December, we are having the end of the year talk, and it's our Christmas too. So everybody's invited with a wonderful topic on faith and my life. So everyone is welcome with friends and family, the 16th of December. And I wish you have a very safe evening back home today. And while going out, you can always explore the book Feeling Great No Matter What or Dare to Live. There are 2 books that would help you on your journey. Thank you and see you next week.